I found some blueprints online that really inspired me. It's a schematic for how to assemble a sandwich, and to be honest with you, it looks pretty approachable, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do today. I'm looking to include the vegetable group, meat and poultry group, the cheese group, and the bread group, which is going to be baked fresh because I am an artisan. I'm gonna make this as one-to-one as I possibly can. It's probably not going to be, not even close really, because I once attempted this before and it came out horrible, like catastrophic failure. It was really bad. I didn't let it rise long enough, and so it was really dense in the center. It was gooey, and it was just a brick of bread. It wasn't really ideal. So this time I'm gonna let it rise the appropriate amount of time and hopefully bake it the right amount of time, and it'll come out a lot better. So with all that said, let's get into it. This is a mixture of milk, sugar, and water. The packet of yeast needs to bloom, which means, like, I don't know, it just needs to activate. It needs to eat some of the sugar and grow a little bit of its elastic network, I think. I've only made bread once before, so I don't really know how this works. But you gotta heat this up to about 100 degrees, and then hopefully the yeast will start to do its thing. In the meantime, I'll be mixing and kneading the dough. So we're just gonna put it on the stove here. Pretty straightforward. And then I'm gonna see about the temperature. Oh shit, that was too hot. That might have been way too hot. Jesus Christ. Okay, it's exactly 100 degrees, so that worked out perfectly, despite the pan going crazy. So now we just add the yeast. So it's been about 10 minutes and the yeast should be sufficiently bloomed. Now I got the dry ingredients in this bowl. I'm just gonna give it a quick whisk to emulsify it. College educated. And then we're gonna add the yeast water to the dry and then slowly add in butter. All right, whisk the yeast, put it in the dry, little by little, just to kind of get it going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a good sound. Ooh, it's warm. All right, getting my fingers in here. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like some good mac and cheese to me. So last time I did this, the dough was like very elastic, super sticky. This time is no different. It's pretty much adhered to my fingers. So I can definitely see why you would want to use a stand mixer for this, or any kind of mixer, maybe even like a hand mixer would be ideal than something so rustic as your phalanges. So now we're starting to get a shaggy dough. It's looking pretty shaggy if you ask me. And I'm gonna flip it out onto my work surface. Oh wait, I should probably add butter to this before I do that. All right, get a little more moisture in here in the bowl before we flip it out. Now the butter is really where you gotta work your way into the dough. You gotta like get your fingers in there. And as somebody who has never kneaded dough before, I know this is the proper technique because it feels nice. If you've ever played with Play-Doh, it's like that, but like an adult version, I guess. Like silly putty. All right, so we got our brains on the counter. We're just gonna lather this with the rest of the butter. Jesus Christ, the dough is going through a lot right now. Was that 2 or 3? Should I conclude?
Yes.
If I just time lapse the whole thing. It's like 1 30-second supercut. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. 10 minutes of kneading this and it kind of looks like a cohesive dough ball. See if I can get this on cam. It's pretty smooth. It's not like the smoothest that it would be if you were to use a stand mixer, but this is great for hand mixing, okay? I think this looks very decent. It's a nice little top ball. Not the tightest I've seen, but it'll get the job done. So now, what we have to do is let it rest for like an hour and a half, which is probably the worst part about this recipe. But once it does, we will get into a greased pan and then let it rest even more, which is weird. and then we'll get into the oven. And hopefully it'll come out looking like a nice tall loaf. So what I'm doing right now is just taking the bread out of the original bowl, and I'm gonna degas it by punching it really quick, just remove some of that excess air, and then I'm going to transfer it to a greased loaf pan, and then from that point I'm gonna let it rise for another 30 to 45 minutes. And it has since been 30 to 45 minutes, and we're gonna have the big reveal. All right, we're gonna see, I see a bit of a bulge. That's usually a good sign. So we're gonna inspect it live. This is happening all at once. Oh, dude, that looks okay. It's not the nicest erection I've ever seen, but it's really decent. It's kind of coming out over the top. It's all right. I hope that it looks nicer in the oven. So we're gonna put it in there for about like an hour, actually like 45 minutes. Honestly, that's a little generous, probably like 30. It's gonna depend. I'm gonna check on it with a toothpick, see if it comes out clean. And hopefully we're gonna have a nice loaf of bread in about 1 hour. So in the oven it goes. It's at 350 for like 30 minutes. I hope this goes well. I put a lot of effort into this. Set this timer real quick. It's looking decent. It smells nice, that's for sure. Oh wow. Look at that. Look at that. All right, now the real challenge will be flipping it out of this little loaf pan, but it looks nice. Like it's a nice crust if I've ever seen one. Oh, it's sliding, wow. Clean. That's amazing. Like look at it. It's nice. So then we're gonna let it rest for like 20 minutes, maybe 15, maybe 10. I don't know what the minimum time is, but it just can't be molten hot when I go to cut it into it or else it won't work. Moment of truth. We're gonna see how it came out the second time around. It's still a little warm, but I'm dying to cut into it, so I'm going to. Got my sharpest knife. Hopefully this works out. I'm gonna do a little bit off center. Oh my God. It's too soft. It's not gonna work out. It's much too soft. I think it needs to harden up a little bit more. Ooh. Oh, look at that. That's clean. That's actually pretty decent. That looks like, hell yeah. Wow, that looks like bread. That's really acceptable. Now I don't know if I could cut a slice. All right, not the perfect slice. I think it was better when I had more structural rigidity. Wow, look at that. We got ourselves a slice. A little slice of life right here. This looks like store-bought bread. This is nice. And we didn't use anything weird. Just butter, yeast, water, and milk. A little bit of salt. Oh my God, it's a good time. Which is far too thick for our intended purposes, but I'm gonna probably cut this in half. And by the way, like, who buys ham steaks? No hate, no shade, but like, look. Ah! like, what is this? Man, come on. All right, we're just gonna slice this in half. Maybe I should just do like the diameter of the, yeah, something like that. So we got the 3-slice affair for the Swiss. Looking nice, looking comical. Then we got the tomatoes on there. So we're gonna, why is it like that? All right, this slice is a little better, a little less soupy. Now our lettuce vegetable group, number 2. The lettuce on there. And our delicately, beautifully baked bread. Beautiful, simply stunning. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and skewer this from the bottom and finish it off with an olive. Ooh, it's wet. Oh my God. It's like dripping right now. Oh no, my thumbprint went into the bread. We're gonna cover that up with an olive. Ew, gross. All right, so we got the olive. Red part is facing the outside. How is that? Is this stick too tall? And this is the piece de resistance. The sandwich, at long last. Baked and fresh bread, thick ass ham, 3 slices of Swiss, 2 slices of tomato, and some lettuce. All right, that's it. I'm retiring. I'm out of the game for good. That was a hard fought battle. I'm gonna cut this slightly at an off angle just because that's how it is in the schematic. Even more aesthetically pleasing. Nice little something right there. See that? You see that? All right. I think we've success. I'm just saying. Seems like we did a good job. All right, bon appetit. Why is it so thick? That is moist and delicious, but a little too thick. Appreciate you making it to the end. This video was not easy. It was met with many hurdles, setbacks, and challenges. But we got through it, put it out at long last, and I'm hoping to put out more frequently in the future. Thanks again, and thank you to Eggox for being a channel patron, which is sick because he's literally the only one. So if you didn't know, Patreon's linked in the description. Please help me buy ingredients. That'd be sick. And also Swim Gym, I guess. Thank you to him for, you know, everything.